we could talk perhaps around the topic of secrets when you're in active addiction and secrets in recovery. I don't know who'd like to share.
I would think I was separate to the drunk. You know, the people that you might see on a park bench. You know, that's not me. That's not me. In some cases, I was probably worse. And it can happen to anyone.
Yeah.
Kelly had hit rock bottom with a drink and drug addiction, which at times even came before her kids.
I love my children. Oh, I would do anything for them, anything, except in active addiction. I practically walked over them for drink or drugs.
Right now, more people than ever before are dying in the UK from alcohol abuse. Today, the Office for National Statistics revealed that for the first time ever, over 10,000 people a year are killed by drink-related diseases.
We now have an urgent crisis. Someone's dying from alcohol every 15 to 20 minutes. We need action.
We're at Mount Carmel, a not-for-profit residential rehab in Streatham, South London.
Have we got skimmed milk?
As well as intensive group therapy, the residents share household chores. Most people rely on their local authority to pay for their treatment, but recently many are being forced to self-fund.
There wasn't a limit in the end. I mean, on average, at least 3 bottles of wine a day. I was drugging as well, so it meant I could just keep on drinking. OK, we'll check the other fridge, shall we?
I was drinking 2 litres of vodka a day. Terrific. I gave up work, I gave up my business. Yeah, it takes you to some dark places.
For Kelly, being in rehab has been confronting. The number of women dying from alcohol is rising at a faster rate than men.
I've had a lot of grief in my life, and I've been in abusive relationships. The last one in particular was quite bad, very bad in fact. Yet there's a hell of a lot, and here you have to face up to it.
Despite the overwhelming numbers of people dying, 80% of those who need treatment are still not getting the help. In the past decade, the number of rehab centres has almost halved in the UK, compounded by the fact that since the pandemic, alcohol deaths have risen by a third.
The big hope, I think, was that post-pandemic, those deaths would drop again. But we were pretty sceptical that would happen, and they didn't. And the reason they didn't is because alcohol is addictive. It's easy for it to creep up. It's very difficult for any of us to bring it back down again. So what we have now is an absolute crisis, and we need urgent action.
For as long as Amy can remember, drink dominated her dad's life. In 2020, she received a call she had always expected.
My dad physically died, you know, when he did, but I'd lost my dad a long time before that. I think I'd waited probably 15, 20 years for it to happen, and I'd always kept my phone on at night. I'd always been just waiting for the phone call that eventually came, and it did come. And I remember sort of putting the phone down and saying, OK, well, now I know how this ends. I always knew that alcohol would be the reason that my dad would die. I just didn't know what it would look like.
Back at Mount Carmel Rehab, and Ruth Allenby has worked here for more than 30 years, but says sometimes there's simply nothing they can do.
What we're finding, people are coming for assessment with us, and we are accepting them for treatment. But unfortunately, they are so physically unwell that they never make it into treatment. And that's really upsetting for us as a staff team. Over the past 30 years, I've seen that the clients are now younger, they're more women, they're more people from different ethnic backgrounds.
For the few who do make it into treatment, socialising without alcohol can be particularly hard. So the rehab are throwing a sober disco.
I would only ever dance if I'd had a drink. So coming to something like this, it's a bit strange, to say the least, but it's going to be the new norm.
I'm glad that this is happening whilst I'm in therapy, so I can actually just prepare myself for when I go back into the real world, if you like, because I am a bit of a party animal to heart, so I just need to learn to do it without the drink and drugs now. I came at 2:30, people were already there, and I've made some good sober friends who are just raring to go, so I'm just following their lead basically. And cha-cha slides on, so can we go and dance?
Kelly and Adi are feeling apprehensive. Today, after 6 months, they're leaving rehab to live independently in a dry house with other ex-addicts.
I'm really quite nervous. I'm nervous. But you know what? I'm ready. I'm ready. It's been 6 months, and you know what? It's now or never. For me, at the minute, it is a daily struggle. The mental obsession is still there. I've drank and drugged for so long that everything is associated with drinking. I mean, even muscle memory, particularly when I first came here, I'd wake up and my hand would go out because normally there'd be wine there.
I am nervous, to be fair. I'm really nervous, but I think it's healthy nerves, you know. On to the next stage.
Kelly and Adi say this is their last chance. It's a matter of life and death. They're optimistic. In the majority of cases, rehab has a proven success rate. Yet the sad reality is, even though we know it works, most addicts won't ever get the opportunity to go.
Like singing a goodbye song.
And if you've been affected by any of the issues in that report, you can seek help by going to channel4.com/support.